Welcome to the SIWIKE podcast, the only podcast that shares the stuff you didn't know you needed to know about jobs, careers, and life. The SIWIKE podcast, the stuff I wish I knew earlier.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the SIWIKE Stuff I Wish I Knew Earlier, the podcast. We're here with Mintikah English Palmer, and hopefully I didn't totally butcher that, but I know you go by Minti, and would love to hear a little bit more about your journey. We'll try to get into kind of what you're doing now as kind of a aspiring YouTuber. We'll get into your background in like media studies and stuff like that, and talk about kind of a lot of the influences as a kid. So why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about what you're doing right now?
Of course. Thank you, Luki. So basically right now I'm a senior motivator at Good Life Fitness, but obviously due to the lockdown, I haven't been able to work, but I have been able to focus on my passions such as becoming a YouTuber, being an Instagrammer, and an influencer. So during the lockdown, I've just been focusing on bettering my craft, focusing on learning new social media marketing tactics, and also just focusing on myself and what I'd like to be remembered by.
That's amazing. And I love to step back and talk to folks and learn about them and their influences growing up. So can you talk to us a little bit about what were you like as a kid? What are kind of like the earliest memories that you remember, and like what were you like growing up?
Oh yeah, sure. So as a kid, I was actually really shy and reserved. But I was always like a humorous kid. Like I loved making jokes and making people laugh. And I was always like very interested in activities. I was in choir, I was in chess club, I was in stamp club, I was in like a lot of activities, and I did a lot of sports also. I did basketball, volleyball, soccer, badminton. Yeah, I was always very involved. I think that had to do with my dad. He was always really into sports.
Mhm.
So he kind of encouraged me to do sports. And also I was really into track and field, so much to the point where I thought I would be a track and field star, like when I got older. And yeah, that's how I really was as a kid. I always felt like a little bit lost though. I always had friends, but I always just felt kind of lost. Like I didn't fit in. So I
Okay.
always did things that were just out of the ordinary, I guess.
So tell us a little bit about that. So you being a little bit lost, not fitting in, like how did
Mhm.
like that manifest itself, and then how did you ultimately overcome it, or have you overcome it? Are you still kind of on
Yeah.
the journey?
So I guess like growing up, I don't know, I would say I was always like just different in a way. Like people just didn't relate to me, I guess. I don't know. I always like to be out of the ordinary. I like to like make jokes and be like funny and just be crazy. And then I guess during the end of high school, I think I became more confident in myself. I started to like really focus on what made me happy and just focused more on on myself and my confidence and self-love. That's a big thing for me.
Cool. So you, throughout the journey, or at least on your university side, you decided to take
Mhm.
a degree in media studies. So how did some of
Yes.
those influences of doing lots of sports, doing a lot of clubs and all these sort of stuff, how did that influence your decision to go into media studies?
Okay, so in high school, I kind of stopped doing sports.
Okay.
I focused more on like my studies and like science and really and math and accounting. And I guess like in high school, I was really obsessed with YouTubers and watching YouTube. And
Okay.
I just always wanted to become them. I always told myself like I want to be this person. Like that was something I was really passionate about. So around grade 12, I decided to apply for media studies because that was the only program that was like media related in UFT Scarborough. So I decided to get into that. But unfortunately, like it wasn't the program I wanted. Like when I got into it around the second year, I kind of realized it wasn't the program that I thought it would be. I thought it
Okay.
would be more hands-on. I thought it would be more like teaching me about cameras, how to create content, but it was more like print-based and textbook based.
Hmm.
So yeah, around the second year, that's when I decided to launch my YouTube channel and focus on and like teach myself YouTube and focus on creating content.
So tell us about that decision. So as a shy and reserved kid, right, a little bit humorous, kind of joking around. So it sounds like
Yeah.
that you even though you were shy, you still wanted some attention, right,
Yeah.
with folks. And then was it difficult for you to kind of record your first video? Was it challenging to that, or how did you decide like what topic to record, or describe that process?
So yeah, I was always very shy and reserved. And I honestly, at one point, I really didn't like people calling me shy. So, because like inside, I felt like I was so outgoing, but like people would say, "Oh, you're so shy" and stuff, and I would really hate that. So, the year I decided to launch my YouTube channel was like me trying to be like, I'm not shy, like I can do this. And I decided to do like a little dance video to like Drake's new album. I'm a big fan of Drake, so I decided to do that because his album had just come out and I thought it would get a lot of views. So yeah, that was my process for creating that YouTube channel.
So if we
The
went
first,
further back and even talked about like the I guess interest in YouTube together, right? So if you
yeah.
say, well, I just watched a YouTube video and instantly fell in love, is that as simple as it was, or is there more of a process to that?
So there was always this YouTuber that I was obsessed with. His name was Kingsley.
Okay.
And I got into him in like 2009.
Okay.
And during that time, he was just the only YouTuber that was big that was like also Black.
Okay.
So like I can also relate on that aspect because there wasn't a lot of like Black YouTubers back in like 2009. So I really related to him that way. And he was just so funny and outgoing. And I just always watched his videos and I just wanted to be him. Like I was like, I could do this. I could create content and make people laugh. So he was really my inspiration for starting YouTube.
That's amazing. So you have this inspiration, and then you're also taking media studies, or did you decide to do the YouTube channel before you enrolled in media studies?
I started the YouTube channel while I was in media studies.
Okay, so you've studied and realized, okay, it didn't give you all the hands-on stuff that you wanted,
Yeah.
and then you decide, okay, you know what, I'm going to do this anyway. I'm just going
Yeah.
to record one. So what was the process like? Because I know a lot of folks who want to start something, they let kind of perfection get in the way, where I need like the most high-tech or sophisticated camera or like angles and like lighting, versus some folks like, you know what, I'm just going to use my phone. it's good enough to do that. So
Yeah.
so how is that process like? So you were going to record a video for Drake, and was there any setup, or just kind of like, screw it, I'm just going to wing it and make it up as I go along? What was your process in that?
So a year before I started my YouTube channel, I actually worked in a camera store.
Okay.
So while I was in the camera store, I learned like how to use the camera and how to record by my coworkers. So once I figured out all that stuff, I decided to buy myself a discounted camera. I bought myself a tripod and a mic, and I set up for my first YouTube video, and yeah, that was my process. I didn't really like, obviously in my beginning videos, the lighting wasn't the greatest and I didn't really know about lighting and stuff, but like once I figured that out, my videos are now better.
Cool. And then what's the process like? So you put that first video on, and then you don't have 1 million subscribers. You're still kind of moving forward. But how do you kind of go through the thought where a lot of people want to be YouTube famous and they automatically want 1,000, 10,000, 1 million subscribers right away? But how many kind of likes and views did the first one get? And then what was the process before you got to the second and third and future videos?
So my first video, honestly, I knew I wasn't going to get a lot of views or likes or anything. But what I did was like, I made sure that I like marketed my video very nicely. Like I marketed on Instagram, on Twitter. I sent it to all my friends. And I managed to get like 100 views, which is not bad for like a first video. And then in future videos, in my mind, I just told myself that like, if I don't get the views, it doesn't really matter. Like, I'm just going to push out content. I'm just going to make content, and whoever sees it, sees it. Like, this is just something I enjoy to do. So like the views don't matter too much to me. But like, as I started to like learn about different content and figure out what it is I wanted to create, I started getting more views and more subscribers. So like, I would suggest for anyone who wants to get into YouTube, just keep making videos and figure out what kind of content you do want to make, and just make it. Like the views shouldn't matter too much to you, and the likes, they will come eventually.
That's awesome. And then what does the discussion with family sound like? Because I mean, when I was growing up, it was always like doctor, lawyer, accountant, engineer, right?
Mhm,
And a lot of that still stays to date. But like
mhm.
YouTube is definitely growing where a lot more people are like YouTube millionaires and stuff like that,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
with subscribers and sponsors and things like that. Um,
Mhm,
how was the conversation with parents? Were they pretty open to that and supportive of
mhm.
it? And then describe kind of the family situation. So if there's like siblings, older, younger, that might have paved the way or not paved the way for you, how is the situation at home to kind of get started on that front?
So my parents have always been really supportive,
Okay.
but obviously, growing up, like I was an A and B student, so they always wanted me to be like a doctor and accountant because I was really good at math. Um, but I knew that wasn't what I wanted to do because like I'm a little stubborn, and
Okay.
I just knew I was gonna do whatever made me happy. So, but they've been very supportive, and I have an older sister, and she's honestly been really supportive. Like she actually bought me my mic, she bought me my tripod, she's bought me a lot of the equipment to create my content. So yeah, my family in general, they've just been very supportive of what I want to do. They just want to see me happy.
And is it an artistic household? Like you mentioned that you were good at math and stuff too, so the
Mhm.
thought to become a doctor, accountant. But was the family influences, were they more on like the business side, the science
Mhm.
side, or other side?
Well, my mom's a PSW,
Okay.
and then my dad's a carpenter, so it's like it's not even related to what I want to do.
Well,
But yeah,
carpentry,
I
there's
think
some artistic aspects to it,
yeah,
isn't there? Yeah.
that's true actually. Yeah, so yeah, my dad used to do music too, so I guess
Okay.
his influence kind of influenced me. He's really into like art and like sports, and yeah, so he really influenced me when I was younger.
That's awesome. So talk to us a little bit about your kind of creative journey. So you create the first video and it gets 100 views, and you're like, well, it's not about the views anyway. I'm just going to create whatever
Mhm.
content that I want to create. Then what's your thought process on, okay, the next video and the next video? Like how did you come up with the different videos? And then like, yeah, what's your thought process now as you're kind of continuing to create videos?
Mhm. So, in the beginning, my thought process was just to create videos that I wanted to create. So I did a lot of dance videos. I did a lot of like weight loss videos. I did a few like videos where I just talked about like stuff that was happening in the news and shared my
Mhm.
opinions on those. And they would get like some views, but I realized that that wasn't the way to go. So I started to create content that like I wanted to create and that would also get me some views. So like now I'm creating more reaction videos because I know those get like a lot of views and I like reacting to new music videos and new content that's going on. And I also do mukbangs here and there. I love just like eating on camera and just talking about different situations. So that's really fun. And I also do vlogs and talk about like self-love and talk about like weight loss journeys and stuff like that.
That's amazing. So yeah, what I'm hearing is really focusing on the content that you love, but also be aware of what the market is looking for, right? Because if you're just creating stuff that you love, yeah, that might amount to something at some point, because there's always a niche for everything. But if you
Mhm,
take a look at, I can create the content that I love, plus incorporate it with something that is
mhm.
trending or whatever, then that's a great way to do things. So how about talking about kind of your journey into good life, and it seems like there's an element of health in there where you had lots of sports that you were doing, and then you stopped in high school, and then somehow you restarted in good life. So what was that journey like?
So I always wanted to work in Good Life because I've always been like a member at Good Life. I've always worked out in the gym, and I always liked like going to the gym and like really focusing and bettering yourself and your body. I really find that very important. So once I got the job, I was so happy, and it's really like inspiring to see members like months later and they've just like reached their goals, they've lost weight, and they're just so happy to just work out. And it's also really awesome to like um work out for free. That's really fun. But but yeah, so I just always was into working out and just weight loss and weight loss journey and just being healthy.
Sounds good. So what are some of the key milestones that you've had in addition to that? So obviously starting your YouTube channel,
Mhm.
getting hired at Good Life. Are there any other milestones that kind of come to mind that kind of shaped where you are in your journey right now?
Yeah, so starting my YouTube channel was a big thing.
Sure.
Also just reaching like some of the goals I've reached like with YouTube is really inspiring. Like my view count is pretty high. I'm getting more subscribers, and also graduating university is a big milestone for me too, because I never thought I would even go to university. So that was really being the first like university graduate in my family is really inspiring. It's a really big milestone for me.
Cool. So talk to us a little bit about that, like in terms of that journey. So I mean, the precedent was not sent before, and then probably a lot of high expectations too. So what was that journey like? Like I'm guessing there's a lot of pressures in terms of a doctor, lawyer, whatever. Well, I'm going to take media studies instead and become a YouTuber, and then this program is not exactly what you wanted or what you thought it would be. What was that? What was that journey like?
So I was kind of pressured by my family to do university, even though nobody else in my family graduated, but it's okay. So yeah, I was like pressured to do university, even though I didn't really want to, but I really wanted that paper. And I know how important that paper, that diploma is, like that BA is. So I decided to do media studies, something I enjoy. I didn't want to do a program that wasn't related to something I enjoyed. But even though in the program, it wasn't exactly what I wanted, I still made like promise to myself that I would graduate and get this paper, because I already started and I didn't know what other program to switch to. So I just like pushed myself each year, and finally I graduated, and it was amazing. Like went to the graduation, my family was there. They were just so happy to see that I got a BA.
And just out of curiosity, so did you consider like college programs, or it was really just university or bust?
I actually didn't even consider college. University was what my parents wanted, so I went to university.
Sure. So it sounds like that there was kind of deep family ties in there to say, you know what, I want to make mom and dad proud, and they got their convocation, I guess. Did you convocate during COVID or before COVID?
No, before COVID.
Okay, so they actually got the proper ceremony and then like the gowns and diplomas. Okay, so that was a good for them, because yeah, I don't know about the folks that were graduating during these times, like what sort of experience that would be for them. But yeah, so you graduated, and then you I guess entered the workforce in terms of good life, and started a YouTube channel mainly because of COVID, or were there other, well, obviously you always wanted to do it, but obviously COVID gave you a little bit more time and energy and efforts and stuff like that, right? So walk us through kind of the next steps. You're starting your channel. You've got a couple thousand views on a bunch of videos here and there, and you're increasing your subscriber count. So for those that are tuning in, please subscribe to the channel. I'm sure we'll link it up in the show notes as well. But what are kind of your goals and aspirations, and what's kind of the plan in order to kind of build up to whatever level of success that you want?
So basically, I don't like to look into the future, like focus too much on the future. I really like to live in the moment, in the present moment. But if I was to think about the future, I really just want to become like a YouTube partner this year. Every month I've been like thinking of a goal for myself, like of how much subscribers I want for this month. And hopefully by the end of like December, I'm a YouTube partner. So that's like my goal right now. I also really want to get into social media marketing. So I've been kind of teaching myself different things, like different tactics in social media marketing, what I need to know about it. And I want to get like a career in social media marketing too, because I'd love to help other businesses like build their brand awareness and just like grow their following. So that's something I really want to do. And yeah, I really want to be an entertainer, public figure. And yeah.
Sounds good. Like lots of great aspirations. And if you were able to give yourself, the younger you, maybe in high school, maybe in university, some SWIKE, the stuff I wish I knew earlier, what are some of the things that you would share?
I think number one is that I would tell myself that like it's okay to be different. Like I think something about me is like in high school, I was very like insecure, and I wanted to like make my YouTube channel in high school, but I was very like insecure of what my peers would think. I was afraid of like what they would say, how they would judge me. And so I told myself that like it's okay to just be yourself, to be unique, and just be who you are. Something else I would tell myself is that post-secondary will not 100% guarantee you a job after graduation.
Sure.
Because I think a lot of people think that once you go to like university and college, you'll get a job in your field, but sometimes it's not the case. Sometimes you just have to kind of do what you're passionate about and just figure out where you want to go. Like not every job is gonna accept you just because of the program you were in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So for that first one about being different and insecure, do you think you would listen to yourself? Because sometimes
Yeah.
I'm sure your parents and other folks around you that love you supported you and told you kind of the same thing. But what was the thing that helped you overcome it? Was it just ultimately like getting older, or were there certain experiences that really helped you kind of be more secure and comfortable with yourself?
I think just getting older, like once I graduated high school, I just got this confidence. I don't know where I got it, but like I just felt more comfortable in my skin. And I just felt, I guess it's because like when you're in university, there's just so many different people. Like there's people that are into math, people that are into science, like everyone is just very different. And you find yourself more in post-secondary. So I guess like I found myself and I just became comfortable with who I was and I gained more confidence. So that's why I decided to launch my YouTube channel in post-secondary.
That's interesting. So what I'm hearing is if you're in high school and if you're one of those people who are have low self-esteem, low confidence, or insecure or whatever, then keep in mind that you'll graduate and you'll kind of graduate into a bigger world of more possibilities, and you realize that a lot of that stuff wasn't even important because in kind of the small confines of high school, it seems like any little thing is a huge deal. But you realize, it's not that big of a deal out there. So yeah, I'd be curious if you would actually have listened to yourself, because sometimes in that moment you probably wouldn't have had anything, but sometimes it's just the fact that, hey, graduated and done, and now I have that experience and realization.
Mhm.
And on the job after graduation, so what was kind of your journey? Because you got the role at Good Life,
Mhm.
but was that a difficult process for you? Because most folks, well, assume that you're going to like media studies or something like that.
Mhm.
What's the process to kind of rationalize between the difference of outcomes?
So after I graduated, I like applied to so many different like media related jobs. I applied to like Bell and like Rogers and stuff like that, but I was just always getting rejected. So my process was like I worked a few different jobs like after graduating. Like I worked at TIFF for one point. I worked at chapters also. And I just didn't feel like this was where I wanted to be. So like once I applied to Good Life and I got that job, I was just so happy. Like because I always wanted to work at Good Life Fitness, and it was something like kind of related to what I want to do, like not in terms of YouTube, but like just the wellness and like health aspect. So I was really happy about that. But like obviously there is like I do want to get into social media marketing. It's just kind of tough because it's like a very competitive field. So I'm just continuing to like learn different things and just make my resume look good, and then hopefully I get a career in social media marketing.
That's awesome. So what I took from that is don't always focus on the usual suspects, right? Like the big companies where all the meeting conglomerates and stuff like that, right?
Mhm.
You can also take a look at some of your side passions and say, well, if you're interested in health, then Good Life is a good place to go to. And the perks of getting a free gym membership and access to the facilities is probably good as well.
Mhm.
So if you are going to go down there, find an area where you love, and yeah, at the end of the day, keep at it, because you're still young, you're still early in your journey, and there's still a lot more to kind of observe and talk about. And thanks so much for sharing all those insights. And we'd love to have you back and talk a little bit more about some of those other things. Like I'm really curious about the whole concept of like self-love, and then really hearing about your journey as we go through, because I'd love to hear how you become the next Kingsley would probably be a good thing to look out for. So yeah, any other parting words that you'd want to share with folks as we kind of end off?
I just want to say one thing. You're never too old to go back to school. If you want to study something else, like just go and like just do it. You're never too old, whether you're 30, 40, 50, like if you want to study something else and get into a different field, go back to school.
I think that's awesome. So one caveat to that is I would encourage you to make sure you go to school for the learning and not for the piece of paper, right? So because unfortunately some folks do go back for a nice degree, which is okay. But if you did it for the learning and making sure you know what you're doing, I think that's a much better use of your time. So thanks so much for joining us, Mintikah, and we'll hopefully get you back for a future episode.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on the SIWIKE Stuff I Wish I Knew Earlier, the podcast. If you like the podcast, please subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you found this podcast. And if you can give us a review, that would be very appreciated. Feel free to contact me on LinkedIn at Lukidanu, Lukidanu, and the same on most social media platforms. And I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks. Bye.